Hip-hop and the Grammys have never really gotten along. Sure, the artists and albums that have been granted the coveted awards are typically a respected choice amongst the hip-hop community. From Fugees in '97 to Chance's Coloring Book in 2017, as it's not really the Grammy voters and committee don't quote-unquote know hip-hop, but rather that they don't seem to care. And for 2023, Kendrick Lamar winning Best Album for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is a good thing. But when so many other groundbreaking artists and albums are left in the ceremonial dust, it's a keen reminder that the Grammys aren't here to put great art on a pedestal, but recommodify what's already proven to be profitable atop an already esteemed piece of work. Like myself, many were shocked to see JID's triumphant third album, The Forever Story, snubbed in the nominations for the 2023 Grammys. An artist coming up through J. Cole's camp, who's been building up his idiosyncratic vocal tones and thought-out rhymes for years now, somehow has failed to be recognized. The disheartenment is truly felt through the mainstream duds in God Did and Come Home the Kids Miss You, taking the nomination slots that JID clearly deserves. What's even stranger is the fact that The Forever Story isn't an underground album in the slightest either. Expertly produced, engineered, arranged, and culminated through the Atlanta artist, it's also not the only strange omission when it comes to rappers at the 2023 Grammys. The suits and ties that parade the genre's accomplishments always seem to have their finger on the viral pulse, but wait for mainstream approval before they roll them out on the red carpet. The primary example of that this year comes from the unprecedented success behind Yeat. When peering at the Best New Artist category, you'll be hard-pressed to find a rapper in there despite hip-hop artists winning and being nominated in past years. The difference with Yeat, though, is almost tenfold, as the 22-year-old auto-crooning rage aficionado released a couple of charting albums, singles, and even a Minions movie placement for his Rich Minion track within the span of a year. And he wasn't even getting any radio play during this time. And that last factor is a typical warning sign, but also an ominous double standard. What places Yeat's music outside of the mainstream's palpability? His music continues to show its relevance with the younger demographics of kids, teens, and even young adults, which should have been a recipe for success. His signing to Interscope and Geffen Records makes this all the more confusing too, as these powerhouses have the influence and money to campaign their young talent to the Grammys. Maybe it's a fear of the unknown. Will these ultra-viral artists find longevity in the industry? Could JID even beat out Kendrick if he was nominated? For me, the answers are as arbitrary as they are unpredictable when being asked from the mountaintop. The fans, musicians, and artists beneath do all they can to prove their worth, but are still shunned from the industry that makes millions off of their work. And so that was the weekly column that I'm now writing for Our Generation Music, titled Media Mayhem, and I'm going to couple that here on YouTube, or at least try to, and kind of see how it works, and add some additional commentary here at the end. So what I just read to you there was essentially kind of my analysis of why the Grammys aren't really the template to look at for like what was the best rap music for the year prior, even in the mainstream scale. And I think that's where like this year and JID not being nominated and Yeat being just completely dismissed in Best New Artist, that it's like, you know, this quote unquote underground scene. And I say underground because that's where Yeat came from, obviously. But he's kind of sprung outside of that so fast that it feels unfair to even categorize him in that now. Like, it feels like we're going to get to a point where this trend is over of kind of the rapping that's popular right now in the rage scene. You know, that's going to come and go, and we're going to look back and say, why wasn't this scene represented like it maybe should have been? And when you have nominations like DJ Khaled's God Did, where it's like, it just feels like such an industry choice of everyone in the world is on this album, everyone's touched it, so of course it's going to be nominated. And while the Grammys definitely, you know, they did that beautiful tribute this year, and I think they did a fantastic job with it, it almost feels like a too little too late thing of like making up for lost time, making up for the acts that they didn't recognize when they were at their peak. And now looking back and sort of celebrating the rap groups and duos and all of that, you know, it feels like we might just repeat this process again if we're not actually representing, you know, what's popular. It's not even what's popular, but what's representative of the scene right now. I think it's more about that. Like, I'm not asking for, you know, Yeat to be nominated for Best Album or anything, but, you know, when you look at the impact he's had on his respective scene, the rest of the Best New Artist category, and also just kind of how large it is. Like, Baby Keem fit in there last year, which was great. And to me, I was like, to me, he wasn't a new artist, but and he had done albums prior, but That's kind of besides the point almost. Like, he definitely would have fit into that best new artist category. And Kendrick in his speech said that he's the biggest underground artist ever, and that's a quote from him. Essentially, to me, what that said is, like, he's gracious that he's never had to change his sound, yet he is still received as positively as he is and given these awards. Like, he hasn't changed himself at all, and that's him essentially saying that kind of without explicitly saying it. And he's one of the few, though, that are able to do this. And when I say the few, I kind of want to say now, like, the only one, besides like a select few like giants on the mountaintop of Mount Rushmore of the hip hop scene, that their work is revered no matter like what route they go on. And obviously I think that's attributed to more of them just being fantastic musicians than anything, but it also comes with your resume and what you've proven in the past. And if people are going to be privy to listen to and therefore vote and pedestal your music based on your past work, and people like Jay-Z and now obviously Kendrick Lamar can kind of have that sort of accolade next to their name. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts on the Grammys, Rap, Yeat not getting nominated for Best New Artist, Jid not getting nominated, and what other snubs did you think that there were from this year. But thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. It all helps me out. And have a great rest of your day. Thank you.